everyone, it's me and one of my two cats. On Thursday night, June 30th, 2022, Ari will be a participant in this video. I screwed up. I only had one cat carrier, and I figured I'd get one cat into the carrier and then hand carry the other one into the car, even though it's a fairly full car, so I was a dumbass. In the attempt to transport the second cat to the car, Lynnie, she got away. She was very insistent, and for my own safety, I could not hold on to Lynnie. So she is back at that place. I couldn't catch her. When a cat does not want to be caught, the cat's not going to be caught. And I tried the treats. Now the cat food was packed too deep into the car, so trying to open the cat food was not realistic. Unpacking the car at this point is should be done on that side. It's only an hour and a half away. I've got all the food from the fridge in here, and the endeavor to get a cat that doesn't want to be caught when the tensions are high, it's unrealistic. So I got in touch with the landlord, let them know what was going on, and I left one of the sliding doors open for the cat. And I put treats. I kept the treats out. The cat food was in the car, but I kept the treats out for just such an emergency. So I guess somewhere in my mind I knew there might be difficulty in transporting these cats. They're not my Billy and my Sammy. Wow, Charlie was a trick to transport. So Billy, Sammy, and Charlie, my three cats of my New York stay 1.0, all reached their senior years and all have passed over the past few years. So these are my two new cats, Lynnie and Ari and Lynnie are two little kitties I know. And Lynnie's having a big adventure. Tonight is Lynnie's big adventure. It's also my big adventure because I got that mattress on my roof. I got my car packed a little bit more full than I thought it was going to be, including the 3 cat towers. So it's all about the cats. And maybe I should have spent my time instead of at the storage center. Well, I had to drop stuff off. That was from a drop-off. Putting those cat towers back into here was just part of that trip. I'm not going to kick myself. This will somehow turn out for the best. Lynnie has been outside before from time to time. She is microchipped. She has always returned home. And I anticipate she will return home again. It's going to be nicer to be inside that nice big empty house than outside in the wilderness. She'll choose her comfort. And when I get back, I'll close that sliding door and have Sherpa in hand and catnip in hand and hope that I find Lynnie inside. I'm optimistic. Now, the fact that it's 9:30 right now and that I have the mattress and a full load here, that means 10:30, 11. So I'm driving slower than normal, barely, but I should be in Staten Island by 11. And unpacked, I'll unpack in an hour, unpacked by 12. And then back here by 1:30 or 2 a.m. Hopefully I find Lynnie, get her into the Sherpa in, very little time. Let's say a half hour for that if I'm lucky. She's back in the house. Out of here by 3 a.m. home again by 4:30 a.m. We are tested by the times. And things go wrong when we're under pressure. I should have got to PetSmart and got an extra cat carrier. Got them both safely into the cat carrier while inside. That would have been the smart thing. My confidence in myself exceeded the reality. My confidence in my ability to manage a cat who is nervous about what's going on. I overestimated my ability and underestimated the passion with which that cat was not going to cooperate. I hear you, Ari. You're a very good kitty. We love you very much, Ari. We love you, Ari. Ari kitty, Ari kitty. We love the Ari kitty. So on that side, when I get to Staten Island, my plan is to get both Ari and the cat litter box into the bathroom and close the bathroom door. That way I can unload the car without the worry of another escaped cat. Yeah. I hear you, Ari. I hear you. There is no situation so bad that it can't be made worse through rushing and attempting to take shortcuts. In these situations, one uses airlock methodology. One must pass through an airlock so cats can't escape. Two doors, dumbass. I hear you, Ari. You're a very good kitty. We love you so much. But I figured I'm inviting you into my life. I invite you in for the good and the bad. Maybe my kid will tune into my videos at some point. Maybe the life of Dad could be interesting to my kid. Who knows? Cat adventures, almost more than anything else. They're certainly not interested in my Linux, Python, Vim, and Git videos. Which is fine. I wouldn't expect them to be. But my broadcasting is going to be on more diverse topics, all blended together on my channel on YouTube, my Mike Levin channel. I got my full name, so youtube.com/MikeLevin. Learn about my cat escapades. Oh, wow. Take good care of yourself, Mike. Make sure you eat well. Eating well is so important. This lane is not going away. Or maybe it is. There we go. Yep. We're hitting construction and a big slowdown. What could make it worse? Well, what could make it worse is the loss of life of some sort. Cat life, my life. Loss of life and limb is the lens through which one must measure how bad things really are. So one does not risk life and limb. You might think with the driving it could be. Well, I will be careful. I will be careful is the answer to that. I will not drive exhausted. If I retrieve Lynnie and on my 4 a.m. return trip, I feel exhausted, I will stop the car and I will sleep in the car before I drive exhausted. But also, the human animal is meant to be driven to new lengths every once in a while. I had a wonderful experience at the Pride Parade with my kid. And for me, like a full day at a Pride Parade like that, we arrived at like 10 a.m. to be 2 hours early to make sure we got a good spot. So there was the wait from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. before it actually started, the 2-hour wait. And then there was watching it, and the parade goes on till like 5, but we did not. So by around 2 o'clock, which is a pretty good run, 10 a.m., 11, 12, 1, 2. And then there was also the, getting there and stuff, which had a little bit of walking because we parked near the ferry, took the ferry, and, walked to the end, got off the end, walked some more. So anyway, that was over 4 hours of walking and being on our feet. And they did pretty well, but it was definitely pushing them to their limits. They, complained. But it's understandable. However, in my mind, 4 hours of on your feet, walking, is a good start. Good start. Now, granted, I'm a 50-year-old man. Should that tire me down? Shouldn't that go the opposite direction? Oh, I'm so old and tired, 4 hours. But honestly, by the time my kid was ready to clock out, I was just getting into it. I could have been on my feet for another 4 hours. There's tricks to it too, You do rest, you find ways to rest. You alternate the weight you put on one leg or the other. I hear you, Ari. You're a very good kitty. We love you so much, Ari. You'll be back with Lynnie in no time, I promise you. This is going to be Ari's big adventure, and it's going to be Lynnie's big adventure. Lynnie's adventure is a little bit bigger tonight, but that's okay. So it's an hour and a half out, hour and a half back. That's my kitty cat having a 3-hour stretch on her own, wondering what the heck is going on. And knowing that I tried to get her, and so, knowing that the house is empty, being able to get back into the house. So it's going to be a stressful time for the kitties. I empathize, Ari. I feel. So I talk about being a blue. It's almost hard for me to hear a cat in distress like that and for tears to not well up in my eyes. I'm using my red armor. I had an interesting video earlier today. Sometimes when I shoot these videos, knowing that I'm not going to edit, I sometimes am concerned that I overshare. But I went through the effort of making the video, and there's lots of good stuff in there. So what I do from time to time is I just publish the video unlisted. They call it unlisted in YouTube. On occasion, private. If I really feel I overshared, I will make it private. But sorry, I'm just checking the text that comes through. These are the times that test you. There's always something in life. If there's not something going on, things are boring, and you won't have stories, and your life has gone stale and static. So So there should be stuff going on. But drama should not be manufactured. Drama should be accidental, well-intentioned gone wrong. One does not pursue drama. One pursues adventure. One pursues personal growth and development. One pursues coming-of-age experiences. To have stories. To have done interesting things. To feel that you are yourself interesting. But you don't want to completely manufacture and contrive it. But you do want situations that test what you're made of, test your mettle. Becoming a lifeguard is a good way to do that. Babysitting. My kid is showing interest in both babysitting and lifeguarding. I wholeheartedly encourage that. But these adventures keep coming at you all through life. This is mine tonight. The time I shot that person, I did not want to be in that situation running that check cashing store. My dad died and I, like a dumbass, took over his check cashing organization. I should have just hired a manager, been hands-off, let it get sold at whatever loss, and got on with my life. Moved out to the West Coast, done some .comming. But, you know, then I wouldn't have had this particular interesting path. And I'm happy with this particular interesting path. It's okay to play what-if scenarios, but you have no idea really whether any of these other paths would have been any better or worse. Your life could have fallen apart on these other paths. You can't assume it's going to particularly be better. And the experiences that you need to have to become who you are, the life experiences. If you're alive, you're doing pretty well. If you're alive, that means there's a whole bunch of stuff that went right up to that point. Now, if you're alive and privileged enough to have the time to watch YouTube, then you are far beyond, fortunate. It might be changing. It used to be considered the top 1%. Maybe we're the top 10% now to have broadband enough to watch YouTube. Over time, hopefully that becomes more like 90%. And there's, the majority are haves. And, we're going to be alive certainly during that transformation. Ubiquitous broadband. I should have done a video of strapping down the mattress. I did 4 ratchet straps. 2 on the horizontal, 2 on the vertical. The 2 on the horizontal are actually going through my car. I can still open and close my front and back doors because it doesn't go through my windows. It goes in the door jamb, basically. So there's two bands running across my car on the inside here that go to the outside and go over the mattress, which is ratcheted down tight. Now, these ratchet straps are a marvelous invention, but if you don't pull them tight enough to start and you ratchet them tight, then too much material goes into them and they might bind. I think out of the four ratchets, I might have overdid it on one of them. One of them is maybe a little bit bound. And I'll try and unbind it, but given the time constraints I have tonight, it is very likely that I just cut that thing, cut my losses, unpack, a lot of unpacking, the mattress and all the contents of the car, the cat, and then hop back on the highway and come on back. I thought it was only going to be 2 round trips. I accommodated for 3, but once I realized I was going to try and do it in 2, I spaced things out a little bit more liberally. Took my time packing the car tight like Tetris, and didn't spend enough time thinking through the cat transportation. Oh. So I've transported 2 cats with 1 Sherpa bag many a times in the past. Sometimes I would let a cat run around in the car, but Billy and Sammy were used to the car rides. They were chill kitties, and they had been worked up to it through many a car ride. They were seasoned. Lynnie and Ari are not seasoned on the car rides. They've had their share of trips to the vet. They're both very young, but we've had them back for their shots, boosters or whatever. Yeah, Lynnie, I hear you. You're a very good kitty. We love you so much. Lynnie kid. It's Ari. Oh my God, I have Lynnie on my mind so much. I'm singing as if it's Lynnie. Ari kitty, Ari kitty, Ari kitty, kitty cat. It's Lynnie who is having a big adventure. Just like that. This time will go in no time. And then when I get to the other side and I do the unpacking, it won't be the blazing heat of the day like the earlier trip. And I'll do it in lots of small trips. Again, I mentioned the Shawshank Redemption, a wonderful Morgan Freeman movie from years ago. It must be 15 years ago. But this jeweler-like mentality of this prisoner is unjustified. I think the story goes into the fact that he really was not guilty of the crime that he was in prison for. And either way, he, decides to escape, and in achieving that escape, he does it little by little by little, each day one tiny little thing, so that nobody notices him digging the tunnel. All the dirt from a tunnel that he dug out from his prison cell all the way to the edge of the island or whatever, he would hold that dirt in his pocket and just gradually spread it around during their outside time. In such smaller amounts, nobody ever saw him doing it, and it never piled up in one particular area. So he had all the time in the world to work with. He had like a life sentence, so he was able to work at it for a long time. But the lesson never left me. And you don't have to push yourself to the edge with physical exertion if you're willing to make more frequent, smaller trips. That's one of the lessons. Having patience to have the vision to do that over a long period of time. Patience, persistence, continuity of thought. That was a lesson that stuck as well. We are all like that. We are all prisoners here on this material world. I hear you, Harry, Harry kitty, Harry kitty, So it's very painful to leave Lynnie back there on her little adventure. But, like I say, this tests what we're made of. I did a stupid mistake in letting her get free, and so I make right. We make more work for ourselves. This is like the manufactured drama. I did not mean to manufacture this drama. It could have been avoided with better planning, with better thinking it through. If this subject reached my journaling, because I'm always journaling in Vim, right? You know that by now. I'm writing about the goings-on of each day in Vim, often for professional matters, but often for personal matters as well. And usually when things are difficult and need thinking through. When things are going easy, I do not journal as much. Long stretches go by when life is good and journaling is minimal. I hear you, Ari. You're a good kitty, Ari. We love you very, very much. Very, very Ari. Who's a very Ari? A very, very Ari. In a lot of ways, the pressure is really off of me now. This is the big trip. This is the one that does a bunch of stuff that, you know, you work up to. The frozen goods from the freezer, everything from the fridge. Boy, I'll tell you, I'll be downing a lot of orange juice when I get back. You know, I can feel a little bit parched, but I can also feel the pull of vitamin C. So in that video I published as unlisted, there's really a lot of good stuff in there. And perhaps I did not excessively overshare. My stories are mine to tell. And the fact I'm doing what I'm doing, the explanation for why this return to Staten Island, and now I can talk about Staten Island because my wife is not coming with me back to Staten Island. So the main reason to not talk about it is no longer so urgent. The concern was with me returning to Staten Island with certain people she did not want to see again would suddenly show up at our door because of my YouTubing. I did not want to come back. I even looked at being just over the bridge in various directions, just over the Goethals Bridge to get to Bayonne. Plenty of places to live in Bayonne, but you know what? For the amount of space, it's not much cheaper. The New York affects the rental prices on, I guess, what they call the Gold Coast, right? Right on the Jersey side, facing New York. Tons of people want to live there, Hoboken. So these rental prices I'm talking about, like $2,200 a month for a 3-bedroom, just as bad in New Jersey. At least close enough in New Jersey that if something comes up, you know, I hop in the car. And parking is particularly not any easier either in Jersey. You have to get out to the burbs of Jersey before you start to get those advantages, the power for the dollar, the parking spots. So if I was going to be overpaying for living expenses anyway, if I was going to be paying these ridiculous New York and immediate proximity prices, New York City and immediate proximity prices, I might as well not put a bridge crossing in the way when I need to respond quickly to these events. Yeah, I need to slow down. Get into the center lane and slow down, my friend. Do not let your passion velocitize you. Get to a good speed. left-hand lane, that's fine. This might add 10 minutes, 20 minutes to my drive being exactly 60, which is under the speed limit. I'll let you know. This is one of those roads where they do 65 miles per hour, so they must be thumbing their nose at, federal money for road repair and stuff. But, New York City, Pennsylvania resort town, toll road with easy pass. They don't need no federal money. This is a rich corridor. This is a moneyed route. The worst place to buy real estate in the United States right now, East Stroudsburg. Keep you cool. I hear you, Ari. You're a good kitty, Ari. We love you very, very much. Yes. Good, Ari. Good, Ari. We love you, Ari. Lynnie will be joining us soon. Lynnie will have her big adventure. Daddy will have his big adventure. And then we'll all have a big adventure together at the new place, mapping out the territories. You'll love it. It's all new space. It'll be very stimulating for your kitty cat mind. Talk about the remapping, right? It's one thing when you choose to do the remapping for yourself. It's another thing when you force it upon your living creatures, your pets, who are very spatially oriented, cats who are essentially predators who have that 3D mapping. So I experimented with letting the cats be outdoor cats. That tent that I showed you, well, maybe I didn't show you because it was in the video that is currently unlisted. Maybe if people are interested, say, hey Mike, let me have the links for the unlisted video. I'll give them to you or let them be known. Maybe there's a way to find them through my channel. Maybe they're just not shown on search. I need to learn more about the unlisted to see if it's true security by obscurity, like no one has the link. It's not shown in any directories or channel pages. Or whether it's only kind of sort of unlisted and gets promoted here and there. I do not know. Do not get tired, Mike. You are prohibited from getting tired. Yeah, I think back. I want to refer to all these things I talked about in that unlisted video. Reversing aging. I am not going to allow myself to get tired, just like I am not going to allow myself to age. Why age? I made it to 50 in this good of shape, feeling essentially like my 15-year-old self. Healing essentially like my 15-year-old self. People tell me that things like the speed at which you heal from injuries slows down. BS. Bullshit. All my little strains or bruises, they heal just as quickly as ever in my life. And then people say, oh, don't jinx it. But the belief that you can jinx a thing like that by talking about it just plays right into the wrong sort of epigenetic, mind over matter. Think yourself into the you want to be. Project it like a Green Lantern energy, a force of will within you. A template to reinforce the original template you were given. Get the right things to express themselves in your gene. Maybe you had longevity back there somewhere. Like the same way we had gills and tails, and every once in a while someone's born with gills and tails. Those are like the obvious on the surface things with lots of physical attribute clues about, the fact it's there expressing itself. Well, what about about all the things that are not so clear in expressing themselves? A stronger immunity system, a longer lifespan, a ability to go a long time without getting fatigued, greater endurance. Are these not potentially recessive traits that you can activate through just deciding to? Normally, it's through pressures in life. Things express themselves because you're in a situation where you need that, and pop, you have it because of the pressures. Now, isn't it just as viable, being sentient creatures as we are, instead of having to undergo that crisis, and instead of some sort of crunch, sort of survival, we just decide to express recessive traits? Why not? Again, I encourage you to watch Michael Levin, TED Talk, microbiologist Michael Levin, and watch how he takes a single cell of these flatworms that he works with, and how a single cell can work its way through a maze. A single cell of a larger creature has the pulsing effect of a heart, has propulsion. Unfriggin' believable. Something very much like free will expresses itself in the single cell of a larger multicellular organism that's broken out and allowed to swim around. Now, these are very primitive creatures with less specialization of their cells than in a human body. You wouldn't expect the same thing of like a skin cell from a human. I hear you, Ari. I hear you, Ari. You're a very good kitty. So you're with me on my cat adventure. You'll be with me on the cat adventure to drop them off. I'm sure I'll do another video coming back. This is the final hurrah of videos from this commute. Now, I will be bringing stuff back from the storage facility, and who knows, maybe after I have Lynnie, I'll wait till I think it's 6 a.m. Maybe I'll get a 2-hour nap, because I expect I'd be leaving at 4 once I have Lynnie, or if I camp out, it might take me until 6 a.m. To get Lynnie back with cat food and catnip and stuff. So whatever it is, it might be around 6 a.m. by the time I'm heading back, and by 6 a.m. the public storage is accessible again, and I can fill a load with Lynnie safely in tow at that time. So this could be some fun and interesting times. And is it any less interesting than reality TV? You know, these housewives things, these manufactured dramas of the housewives of fill in the blank. Really, is that the life that you want to, tune into? Covet? What's the goal here? Being a housewife? I'm not knocking it. It was an opportunity for my wife as she was finding her way through her stuff, Everyone has stuff. And sometimes you get detoured in life. And you use that detour to your best advantage. Who's to say it's a detour? It's your main path once it happens. It's a detour from what you may have envisioned for yourself. So who knows what life will bring? Harry. Who knows what life will bring, Harry? But aren't we better off for having these adventures? Aren't we better off for life being interesting enough? Not excessively interesting. There's the old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Well, they were not wishing happiness upon you. Interesting times usually means trouble. May you live in mildly interesting times. Mildly interesting is good. This is mildly interesting. Am I really going to drive through the night? Am I going to find the cat on the other side? We've had a few scares with Lynnie. Lynnie is a capable outdoor cat. She is also quite skittish for two reasons. Lynnie overlapped with Charlie, the third of the three black and white cats, the third of the three tuxedo cats, the third of the three Billy cats, such as they are. Cow cats. They all had cow patterns. Two of them had black and white cow patterns, and one of them had a gray and white cow pattern. And two of them were brothers. One of the black and whites and the gray and white were brothers. Those were Billy and Sammy. And they were great big indoor cats. Boy, were they characters. They were like living stuffed animals. They were like living teddy bears. You could manhandle them. Sammy was too dignified to be manhandled. He preferred to be doing paperworks with you. He always was where the action was. He almost certainly grouped himself with the humans in any given room. I hear you, Ari. I'm talking about the kitties who came before you. This is the story of the three little kitties I knew. When the two little kitties I know became the three little kitties I know. So Billy and Sammy I bought in Union Square PetSmart. Yeah, Union Square PetSmart. They were rescues from Kitty Kind, Ari. Kitty Kind is a kitty cat rescue organization. And I was a young kid, not that young. I guess I was 28 by the time I moved to New York City. But I was a young guy. And Kitty Kind, it's not really PetSmart that sells the cats there. It's a rescue organization, whatever rescue organization they're working with. So I remember even the person's name, Dawn, who I adopted Billy and Sammy from. And they were these two little kitties who were like leaping over each other with somersaults. They were like Spider Kitty. Spider kitties did whatever spider kitties do. And I was just completely enamored with them. And the rescue people who knew I was getting my first kitties showed me this old cat, who was probably already, 12 years old or something, and said, wouldn't you prefer this cat? Nice, gentle, easy to care for, whatever. They wanted to throw me a softball. And I'm like, no, I love these two. And because of the recommendation of at that time, someone who was going to be my mother-in-law, I named them Bologna and Salami. One of them was Bologna, named after that person's daughter, who was in Bologna, Italy at the time. And, the plan was, this was one of my heartbreaks. The plan was when they came back from Italy, I would spring the question on them. They had, their college years, enough time for them to, have some experiences. And, it was getting close to popping the question time because I dated her for a while. And yeah, I date some young people. It comes back to bite me. It doesn't always work out that great. So I have some stuff to say there. I'm not ashamed of it. I feel myself to be the same me who I was at 15 years old. I am attracted to a certain energy or, verve for life. Call it what you will, but young people have it. Old people get broken and settle. Some people would call it finding themselves. So, I mean, apparently that's true. And so whatever's wrong is something wrong with me. It's having taste in people who have that, same attitude. It's tough to find it in someone your own age. So does this video become one that I just push out there? Yeah, so I'm an interesting person, right? So because of that, my cats were originally named Bologna and Salami. However, after I was dumped, I couldn't bring myself to use those names. It's not my thing anyway, naming my cats after lunch meat. My boss at the time in New York, the person for whom I actually went to New York, the person who drew me to New York, was like, you can tell a lot about a person from there. Well, first, tech guys have cats. It seems to be a thing. I hear you, Uri. You're a very good kitty. So technology people, guys who like technology, often have cats too. It seems to be a thing, apparently, from my ex-boss's observation. And then the next thing is you can tell a lot about a person from how you name your cats. And they had some strange look in their face over naming my cats after lunch meats. So that could not stand, and Billy and Sammy became Billy and Sammy. Bologna and Salami became Billy and Sammy. It rolls off the tongue much more easily. Good, solid human names. Billy and Sammy. I could relate to them almost like humans. So Sammy was the gray and white, the really big one. As kittens, Sammy, the gray and white, was the smaller of the two and was always less secure. You could see it. Sammy wore it when he was a kitten and then wore it less as he became older, as he overcompensated trying to be the alpha male, dominating over his brother by eating more. He also had a slightly smaller head, which was funny. The bigger cat with a slightly smaller head, who very clearly was going out of his way to eat more to keep himself alpha and to associate with the humans more to keep himself grouped with us. Billy didn't give a crap. Billy was just Billy. Billy did Billy stretch tricks. He loved his audience. He would overstretch backwards when you held him by his spine with two hands. He would stretch his head out in one direction with his arms above him and his legs out in the other in such an arch that you almost can't believe he's doing it willingly and that he's comfortable. But you could feel it in his body. He was completely comfortable and loved it. He recognized the words. When there was a new audience, it was like, you want to do a Billy stretch? And everyone went gaga over Billy. He knew it. He fed off that energy. I love you, Uri. I love you so much. You good kitty, Uri. You're the kitty I know now. You're one of two kitties, and it's going to remain two kitties I know. The great unstoppable daddy is going to go back there and find the Lynnie. Find the Lynnie. What a sinking feeling it is when that cat gets away and you realize you're not catching a cat who gets away from you. One who's panicked, one who did the equivalent of spraying you with their scent, with their skunk musk. You know, cats have that. No one gets it removed and it's almost never used because cats don't need to use it, indoor cats. But when they're panicked, they're going to use it. And that cat used it. And I got skunked. So, such is life. The smell goes away right away. It's not like a real skunk being sprayed. But I might take a shower to get the smell of panic off of me for going back for Lynnie. Change my clothes. And rub catnip all over myself. I know right where it is at the other place. I should have kept a can of it with the treats that I kept. So I need the catnip, I need the cat food, I need the treats, I need maybe a quick shower and a change of clothes. I need maybe a mattress to roll out in the car to camp out and sleep. I won't be sleeping in the house. I'm keeping the house unlocked past when my lease expires, but I let the landlord know right away. And they're wishing me luck. And yeah, I'm not going to need luck. I'm going to get this cat back by skill, and I'm going to put as much thought and intelligence into it as I allowed my dumbassitude to let the situation happen. Sometimes the worst of times brings out the best in people. And so let this be one of those times. I get to talk to you more. These are talks I would have never had, and I might even turn that unlisted to public, so it shows up in my channel. The lost gems. Oh, some of the videos I delete. Some of my videos are really some of my best ever, but because I go off on some tangent and know that I'm not going to edit, I just delete the whole video. Why? Why would I do that? Statistics. Statistics. Statistically speaking, I'll make up for those videos. I'll talk about those same topics again, and it's easier to just do that than to go and edit videos. Life is too short for editing. The fact that I'm going to steadily blow up on YouTube, I'm taking the Shawshank, in case you haven't noticed, in case you haven't put two and two together on this, I'm taking the Shawshank Redemption course or path to blowing up on YouTube. I doubt I'll have very many million view videos. I'll do them on occasion. I'll try and hit those harmonics. They're going to be weird, odd ones. The first one I did, unboxing the Raspberry Pi, I was like the second person on the internet to unbox a Raspberry Pi. And I had a funny edit because I did edit it, but I edited it on the New York subway. And I made a correction of like mini to micro, and it scared everyone, and it added to the charm of the video. And one of people's favorite things was to, comment on whatever, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Micro! Oh, Ari, I hear you. I love you so much. Everything is good, Ari. Ari and Lynnie and Ari are two little kitties I know. Two little kitties I know. Two little kitties I know. Lynnie and Ari and Lynnie are two little kitties I know. Two little kitties I know. So instead of a bathroom, that seems a little bit small, I will put Ari in one of the big bedrooms and close that door. I forget how much space I have to work with now, so I get myself a 3-bedroom, a room for each of us, a private room for each of us. Now it's not needed. Maybe I'll make it the cat room. Yeah! Ari, how would you like your own room, Ari? The cat room. Yeah! It's the room you go over to hang out with cats in your cat bliss. We'll put maybe 2 of the cat towers in there, Ari. What do you think? 2 cat towers. Ooh, I can see the Empire State Building. You've been with me for almost my entire drive. Hey, Ari. Usually Ari. Yeah. So it's going to be, if my timer here on the video says 54 minutes, it's still going to be about a half hour before I get to the place. And I probably will tune out before I get there finally, because even though I'm stopping talking about, even though I'm not stopping, even though I am allowing myself to talk about Staten Island now, because hell, why not? It's my life, it's my stories. People make their decisions. It's not like if I didn't talk about Staten Island in these videos, wife would have come with me back here. She just didn't want to come back. This is a chapter of her life she left behind. Probably even if I lived outside of Staten Island in Hoboken or Bayonne, it wouldn't have been that much better. They would have been uprooted from this life that they got into. They have connections there now. They have activities that they do. The stuff that, was her issues, because everyone has stuff, everyone has things. The stuff that was her things and her issues were better over there. They were, diminished. And at least under certain circumstances, right? Everything is qualified. And for my kid, it seemed pretty good. It was a good plan B. It was a very good plan B. There was necessarily no telling that things were going to settle down, that the new variants or whatever were not going to be something terrible, right? It could have gone different ways, and if it went slightly differently, it would not necessarily be good to be at Ground Zero, New York City, where all the international travelers are coming in every day, where any new variant is going to hit and sweep across the population in very short order. So you get an extra hour and a half between you and them out to the mountains. That's what's driving up the prices in East Stroudsburg. It's the nicest highway. Because I know, because I've taken some of the other highways to get to things like the Catskills. The highway system to the Catskills versus the highway system to the Poconos, they're not even in the same league. One of them is the high stress, the loops, the connections, the having to stay alert all the time, the New York drivers. The other is a single shot, all beautiful, all straight, easy connections, just one of them, I-95 to 80, which becomes 280, or to 280, which becomes 80. And the whole rest of the way is easy peasy, beautiful driving, mostly with Pennsylvania drivers out to the Delaware Water Gap and eventually the Pocono Mountains. Because it's a resort town, there's lots of interesting things around, lots of amenities. There's a swimming pool, because I was in a community association. Indoor and outdoor swimming pool. Lots of lakes. You could do lake activities. You had the Delaware River. You could do boating. The last time boating, I think it was characterized as dragging my kid out boating. It got back to me through circuitous routes. Sorry if I dragged you out boating. I didn't mean to. Because it looks like, the alternative is like wanting to stick your nose in your phone all day. I gotta broaden my kids' horizons. The app of the mind. Once you learn how to organize your mind sufficiently and entertain yourself, there's ways to even do that. You can entertain yourself. Oh, something's rattling a bit loose. It's okay, Ari. Everything is good. I am certainly going to have to be careful opening these doors. But I am now connecting from 280 to I-95 just hit 1 hour. I'm wondering if it's one of my mattress straps. But the thing is, I have 4 straps on this mattress. 2 on the vertical, 2 on the horizontal. And they're rated at 3,000 pounds breaking strength. That rattling does sound like it's on the outside though. But with 4 straps, there are 3 still attached. And usually people do this with 2. So what I'm gonna do is just go even slower. It does sound like a strap, but it doesn't sound like a ratchet piece. Boy, for one of those to break, it wouldn't be a break from the strength, I don't think, of the wind or anything. That would have been maybe a chafing break of some sort. You don't want a mattress coming loose from your roof, that's for sure. But again, you know, I sprung $30 for 4 of these straps. And that was so I could use all 4 of them. It's less than $10 per strap. It's a really good deal. I've got it mounted on a canoe rack. Fixed still in both directions. So I am quite confident. Nonetheless, I am glad we are approaching my exit for Staten Island. Staten Island. Staten Island. It's got a vibe, ladies and gentlemen. I am glad I'm a Philadelphian. Now, I'm not like a South Philly person. I'm not like one of the crew from It's Always Sunny. But not terribly different from what they're drawing a picture of either. That is a Philadelphia personality. They're not tough guys necessarily, like that New York tough guy thing, the Joe Pesci kind of attitude. But a little bit on the harsh side. I have stories about Staten Island. People are, easily offended and want to get all in your face about it. So I have multiple instances where I just stood people down with my body language. You could tell that something I did pissed them off, and they want to get all up in your face, and you hold yourself like you always do. You don't shirk back, you don't pull away, and you make it understood that they don't even register on your radar. And then when they try and get your attention, you look at them like they're some strange alien. And whatever they wanted to bring up with you seems to just fade into it wasn't that important. Because they immediately assume that they have become the center of your world. And this has happened to me more than once on Staten Island. And when they realize that they are trying to intrude in on someone else's world, and they are less than nothing to you, and you don't even know what they're talking about, and they're going to need to explain it to you, they're going to look like a fool explaining it to you. And this kind of just settles in and dawns on them in this like microsecond where they, you know, apparently from their behavior expect that kind of New York tough guy engagement back and forth, or better still, from their perspective, New York tough guy talking down a, you know, green foreigner, right? Anyone who's not a native New Yorker, anyone who came in from elsewhere and who is having their New York experience as some millennial, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere kind of time. And then what they encounter is someone who knows Staten Island very well, who is Philadelphian in spirit, and who has dealt with that kind of person copping an attitude before. The main thing is to make sure that they know they're going to have to provide context for their upsetness, and that you are completely calm and cool and collected. Whatever you did that offended them doesn't even register with you. Alright, we're about to go over the Goethals Bridge. I'll let you see. I hear you, Ari. You're a very good kitty, Ari. You're a very good kitty. I'll let you see the Goethals. I'll get over the bridge, and then I'll close out this video and start uploading it. And I'll be unloading my car soon after that. Here you are, Ari. You're a very good kitty. We love you very, very much. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Ah, New Jersey. The, what do you call them? Pipes? What is that? Exhaust of... They still have big flames coming out of them in Jersey. I don't know if it'll go through in these background pictures in here, but it's very Blade Runner right across from New York. Because, you know, none of these oil refineries or anything are in New York, I don't think. All the oil refineries, all that business, for whatever reason, has gone to Jersey. And so Jersey has still smokestacks. That's the word I was looking for. Jersey has factories with smokestacks that burn off something as it goes into the atmosphere. I'm sure it's for a beneficial reason. It's cleaning something. It's turning some complex and potentially harmful molecule into a less complex and merely greenhouse gas molecule. Carbon and whatever other things are burned off probably become ash and fall down or whatever. You're a good kitty, Ari. We love you very, very much. Tonight's gonna be one of them crazy nights, Ari. crazy, crazy nights. You're going to settle into a new place. Did I finish the story of Billy and Sammy? No? Well, let me finish it for you. Billy and Sammy were the two little kitties I knew. They were very distinctive and fully, confirmed indoor kitties, like confirmed bachelors. They were confirmed indoor kitties. And then we got Charlie, because Charlie was my first kitty with my first wife. And, it's a special thing buying cats together. We could have either gone and hung out with a group at Connors Communications who was sitting in the park at that time. It was probably Manhattan Park. Is it called Manhattan Square? Manhattan Square Park. That has Burger Shack and stuff. So I saw a group of friends, but if there was one thing my first wife despised was my friends from my first job. She hated them for some reason. And she was like, no, I don't want, let's go over to PetSmart. And in an ultimate move of distraction or whatever, we got Charlie. Charlie looked just like he belonged to the set, a brother from another mother. But Charlie was a skittish little kitty. Charlie never lost his skittish edge. And I know the rescuer of Charlie, too, just like Dawn was the rescuer of Billy and Sammy. Karen Hunter, and she had to be a hunter because Charlie was not easy to catch. They said Charlie was in the wild for 8 months, so Charlie became a full-grown cat, which meant not neutered through that first full 8 months of Charlie's life. And then they finally caught Charlie, and of course they did the deed. So Charlie did not trust people, and Charlie was fast, and Charlie was skittish, and Charlie took a long time to warm up to people. And Charlie was the last one standing of the 3 black and white kitties. And Charlie overlapped with Lynnie. Lynnie, the one who's missing back in Pennsylvania now. Lynnie, who's the one who fought me and escaped. Lynnie, who's the one who wanted to be an outdoor cat so badly. And Lynnie, who's the one who was attacked by a hawk. Lynnie, who escaped from that tent apparatus, because again, me, the dumbass, but I'm like, oh, if Lynnie escapes every once in a while, it's not bad. It's like anti-fragile. It makes them better capable of surviving when things go wrong. I generally am okay with that as long as, all's well that ends well. However, one time out, Lynnie got attacked by a hawk, and we didn't know it at first. We brought Lynnie to an emergency cat place that was open 24 hours, so it was like an hour drive to get there, hour and a half drive to get there. It was called Paws, P-A-W-S. And Paws, shaved Lynnie's back and showed us the injury. And they were like, it's almost as if it were a stick or something hit her. And it didn't occur to me toward later that stick or something that hit her was the claws of a hawk. A hawk must have swept down and tried to carry Lynnie away, and Lynnie fought back. Lynnie fought back. Lynnie was the cat who lived. And so Lynnie is good at fighting back. I am going to have to calm and appease Lynnie into coming with me. There's no forcible lifting up and carrying Lynnie. I will have Lynnie in the Sherpa bag, which will be available again. I won't have to buy a second one. Oh, yeah, right, that's right. And Lynnie will be joining you soon. But I'll get her all relaxed. And, this is where I wind down and start this next leg of the adventure. Thanks for joining me, and tune in next time for the continuing adventures of Where's Lynnie?